If you're watching this alone right now, you need to listen very, very carefully. Last November, an 82-year-old man was sitting right where he usually sits, completely alone, when his heart started to die. He survived a massive widowmaker heart attack. But it wasn't the ambulance that saved him, and it sure wasn't the hospital. He survived because of a very specific sequence of things he did in the first 5 minutes. Today, we're going to walk through exactly how to survive when that clock strikes zero, because when it happens, you have to save yourself. Okay, first things first. We have to talk about the Hollywood lie. Everything you've seen in movies, the guy clutching his chest, gasping for air, collapsing to his knees, it's all a lie. It's dramatic, sure, it makes for good TV, but it's a dangerous deception. Believing that's what a heart attack looks like can get you killed, because you'll be waiting for a sledgehammer that never actually comes. So let's just break this down. The myth is loud, it's obvious, it's unmistakable drama. But the reality? Well, the reality is often a quiet, insidious whisper. Instead of that big, dramatic chest clutch, it might just be a strange feeling. Instead of gasping for air, it could start with just a cold, heavy sense of dread. And that sudden collapse you see on screen? Nah, it's much more likely to be a slow-building pressure in a really weird place, and maybe an aching jaw. And this quote from the man who lived through it, it just says it all, doesn't it? He wasn't doing yard work, he was just sitting there. And it wasn't this loud, violent event. It was a subtle, terrifying whisper that he almost dismissed as nothing. So let's get into the specifics of what that whisper actually feels like, because recognizing these real nuanced signs is absolutely the first step to survival. This is the stuff that really, truly matters. So get this, the very first thing he felt wasn't physical pain at all. It was psychological, a cold, heavy dread, right in the pit of his stomach. It's that primal animal instinct that something is deeply, deeply wrong. And that is the exact feeling your brain will immediately try to explain away. Okay, so after that feeling of dread, then came the pressure. And notice how specific this is. Not in the center of the chest, not down the left arm, but a crushing weight right across the collarbones, like someone laid a wet 50-pound bag of sand on him. This unusual location is another reason people hesitate, and they waste precious, precious time. And then the last few pieces of the puzzle fell into place. An aching jaw, like he'd been grinding his teeth. A cold sweat, which is your nervous system just screaming in panic. But here's the most dangerous part. His brain's immediate reaction was denial. It said, "Frank, it's just indigestion. Go lie down." And that right there is the first and the most fatal mistake people make. The instinct to just go lie down when you feel unwell. The survivor's warning here is so stark. If you go lie down, you die. Why? Because laying flat forces your damaged, failing heart to work twice as hard against gravity. Fluid builds up in your lungs, and you literally drown. Okay, so you've fought that urge to lie down. You've recognized the whisper. Now what do? This is the core of it all. This is the exact step-by-step plan that you need to execute when every single second is the difference between life and death. First, you have to understand the stakes. You have about 5 minutes. 5. That's the window before your heart muscle actually starts to die. Paramedics can take anywhere from 8 to 20 minutes to get to you. So calling 911, that's just starting a timer. It is not the solution. The math is not in your favor. What you do in this window determines everything. All right, here are the first 4 actions, and these are not suggestions, they're commands. 1. Your absolute first call is 911. Don't call your wife or your kids for comfort. Comfort is a killer. They can't unclog an artery. 2. While you're on the phone, get yourself to the front door and unlock it. This can save paramedics 3 to 5 minutes of breaking it down, and that's the difference between brain damage and a full recovery. 3. Immediately sit down and do not move. Become a statue. Every single step you take burns oxygen your heart desperately needs. And 4. The absolute game changer. Chew 1 aspirin. And on that point about aspirin, the survivor said this is the one piece of advice that is so rarely given, but it is maybe the most important of all. It's a simple, simple action that literally pauses the dying process. So the crucial detail is how you take it. If you swallow the pill, it has to go all the way through your digestive system. It's way too slow. By the time it works, the damage is done. But if you chew it to a paste and you hold it under your tongue, it absorbs directly into your bloodstream in seconds. It has to be uncoated aspirin. It's going to taste awful, like bitter chalk, but that taste means it's working. So why does this work so well? Well, think of a heart attack like a really simple plumbing problem. A clot is blocking a pipe.
Aspirin is something called an antiplatelet agent. It instantly makes your blood cells less sticky, which stops that clot from getting any bigger. It basically freezes the problem right where it is, buying you critical time.
And the impact is just astounding. The survivor's cardiologist told him that this one simple act, chewing one 325 milligram uncoated aspirin, bought him an extra 12 minutes of life. 12 minutes he would not have had otherwise. Okay, so now you're sitting down, the door's unlocked, the aspirin is working its magic. This is the hardest part, the waiting. And while you wait, there is a very dangerous piece of viral misinformation that you have to avoid at all costs. You've probably seen posts online about so-called cough CPR, telling you to cough repeatedly and violently to keep your heart beating. Do not do this. It is a deadly internet myth. Violent coughing spikes your blood pressure and puts a massive strain on a heart that is already suffocating. The reality is, you need to do the exact opposite. You need to calm everything down with tactical breathing. And here's how you do it. Your brain is dumping adrenaline into your system, screaming that you're about to die. You have to override that panic. So close your eyes. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold it. Now breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. Treat it like a job. Your only job is to focus on those numbers. This mechanical process forces your nervous system to calm down and it lowers your heart rate. So what is the ultimate lesson here? You know, we're taught to think that when disaster strikes, we just have to wait for the professionals, for the heroes, to come and save us. But in that critical 5-minute window, that is a fatal assumption. And this is probably the single most powerful takeaway from this entire story. Help is coming, but they are not the first responder. You are. Your knowledge and your actions in those first 5 minutes are what will determine whether you live or die. So let's lock in this survival checklist. Burn this into your brain. 1. Know the real, subtle signs. Dread, pressure across the collarbones, and aching jaw. 2. Your first and only call is to 911. 3. Unlock that door. 4. Chew. Do not swallow one uncoated aspirin. And 5. Sit like a statue and use tactical breathing to stay in control until help walks through that open door. And I'll leave you with this final, urgent question. After everything you've just heard, what are you going to do about it? Because knowledge without action is useless. So go right now and put a bottle of uncoated aspirin on your nightstand, in your car's glove box, and in your kitchen drawer. It might just be the most important thing you do today.